Now, let's have a look at managing the device. Now, when I say managing the device, I'm referring to changing default settings, an IP address, things of that nature. The overall look and feel of the machine. So, we're going to start by talking about how we can customize the look and feel of our various applications. And when I say application, I mean copying, scan and sending, and things of that nature. Right? So let's hop over to the ops panel and have a look at some of that. Now, in the copy function, and I'll just use this as my example, again, we notice we have all of these different capabilities. NUp, book copy, so on and so forth. But now I can hit more, and I can now adjust where everything is listed. Now, I can actually customize where those icons are going to be and what constitutes being more versus the standard display. And that's all done when I hit in the upper right. Notice how I have UI configuration. Now this is an administrative function, so I'm just going to log in. Now this machine does not have a default administrative credential. So this is configured when the machine is turned on for the very first time. There is no default. So I'm just plugging in my credentials and I'm logging in. Now at any point you'll know you're logged in if you hit the little drop down, and in this case you'll see I'm logged in as an administrator. Now once I get into that UI configuration, I can now remove or move icons. So you notice basic, this is all going to show up under that basic tab. So now I can take my reduce and enlarge and I can drop it up there. I can take my NUp, move it to the end, or I can simply remove it altogether, which you most likely would not want to do. But there might be some settings that you want to make limited for various capabilities. There we are, there we are. I can just simply move this up here. And right on down the line. Remove whatever I wish. Now I can just hit OK. So now I have a truly customized look and feel. Again, notice I only have the one list of icons because I deleted just about everything. And when I hit more, well, it's not going to show me a whole lot because, again, of what I did earlier with my UI configuration. Now, I'm still logged in as an administrator. Again, that's going to be indicated by hitting the drop down. So I can go back to my UI configuration. And I can now add all of my icons back simply by hitting the little plus icon for each one. Again, I can clear all. I can just simply add them all back just by hitting the plus. And I can just refresh it back to factory defaults by hitting the little circle icon there. And no harm, no foul. You may have also noticed that we have our copy settings. I can hit my copy settings. So this particular one is another page confirmation. We saw that earlier. So some customers out there prefer to disable this notification. And by simply going in here, that particular option can be enabled or disabled. But you can do this for all of our functions, right? So that was just copying. But now I can go to my scan and send, and we're going to see a similar menu option, UI configuration. Again, I'm still logged in as an administrator at this point, so I don't need to log in again. Again, book scan, we can move all of our various options around. So we have a truly customizable user experience when it comes to using this device in so many ways. Now, as far as some other machine settings, for example, you may want to default the machine to be a color copy or a black and white copy if it's a color unit and you want to save color clicks. Or let's say if the machine has a finisher and you want your fax to staple every set. Or let's say you want scan to email to default to PDF. Or any other settings in the machine. Now, that's all located in our settings tab. Again, it looks all very familiar for those of you who have used a Droid-based interface before. And again, we see our tray settings, tray paper size, paper type, tray protection, sound options if applicable, so the key sounds, the tones, the faxing sound, the haptic feedback, we can turn that on or off. Again, display brightness, storage just gives you an idea of what's going on in the machine as far as storage. Adjustments are for adjusting, well, the machine, so altitude adjustment as well as machine test, as well as custom color if we need to. Right, in this case, it's just a black and white machine, so there's not going to be many options there. Power saver, again listed here. Now, a lot of this is administrative functions. So you will need to log in as an administrator to do any of this. Again, I'm logged in as an admin as indicated up there. There we are. Get that back up there and we can close that up. Again, timers, echo mode, language, input method, any security settings that we wish to use, image overwrite. Again, all these typical things that you've grown to know from previous Samsung devices. In general settings, default paper size, toner cartridge notifications. Again, and all of this is broken down in the user guide. Now this initial settings, just as a friendly reminder, you're going to see this setup routine whenever you turn the machine on for the very first time, or if the machine has been memory cleared, or if the operating system has been reinstalled. So this is something that you can expect to see, again, out of the box. And that's all initial settings. You cannot get into this initial settings unless, you guessed it, you're an administrator. Now as we go through this, we can see our fax settings. Again, do we want ECM mode on or off? Is there a certain receive mode, modem speed, which is nice? Previously, this was an option that was only available in service mode. Now, we can adjust it here, which is very convenient. Again, received fax printing, so in this case, we can, if we had a finisher with job separation, we could choose our tray and so forth. Again, we also have print settings, skip blanked pages, which is nice, paper source, emulation, orientations, box settings, again, just the various auto file delete if we need to, fax to receive data. This is if we're storing a fax to the box. Report settings, again, what tray we're pulling them from, and then, of course, application management. Now, application management is where we're going to be able to disable or enable a particular program. So now I can simply disable a particular function just by hitting that little icon. And right now, Scan and Send will be grayed out. As you see there, it's a little bit lighter and unusable. I can just simply enable that. Again, this is an administrative function, as well as some of our other capabilities from within the machine. So again, all of that is under our settings menu. Incidentally, this applications management section, by the way, is where you're going to install XOA applications if applicable. Also, we have our reports option here. So this is where we can do a usage counter report, a demo page, config page, as well as anything else you feel you may need to print out. Network settings is just what you think it is. So we can now add our network settings, IP address, and so on and so forth. I can even display the IP address if I wish in the drop down, or in the home screen. Yeah, right there in the drop down. Date and time. Just what you think about the system. So we can now see our hardware configuration. We can even see what our firmware version looks like. Accessibility, again, some little tweaks we can make for accessibility, and contact information. So there's a lot of nice options we can now manage in here, and it's a lot easier than what it used to be. We can even now move through some of these menus with a little hotkey. Again, over there in the upper left, again, just some basic options there. Again, tray settings and so forth. Once all is said and done and we want to log out, I can simply hit that little admin icon and that will now log me out of the machine so that nobody can come in and change the device settings without authentication. So that's a quick introduction into our new user interface. So again, you can expect this on some models released in the second half of 2014 and onward. And again, it's going to be the same. The only difference is going to occur when we have a color unit versus a monochrome unit. But everything that we just talked about applies to all those models that I mentioned earlier on in this training. I thank you for taking some time to view this, and have a great day.